Hi, I'm Clare Bradin. I'm a Senior Associate in the Disputes and Investigations team at Allens. In this session, I'll discuss a fifth key element of an effective anti-bribery and corruption compliance system, which is developing controls to manage other key areas of potential exposure. These areas include gifts and entertainment, sponsorships and donations, and conflicts of interest. Gifts, entertainment, travel expenses, and other hospitality are mechanisms that have historically been used as a conduit to pay bribes for foreign public officials. Therefore, they represent an area of particularly high corruption risk. This can also be a particularly challenging area for businesses to navigate, given the long-standing customs that often exist in relation to gifts and hospitality in many contexts. It can also be difficult to know where to draw the line on appropriate gifts, because anti-bribery laws are generally silent on the specific issue of gifts and considering the wide variety of circumstances in which they might be offered. Businesses should have in place a clear policy on the offering and acceptance of gifts. This policy should cover the relevant factors to be considered when determining whether gifts and hospitality are appropriate. For example, whether a gift is for relationship building only and is not proximate to a decision which may favour the person providing the gift. It's also good practice to establish a gift register to record gifts offered and received, and for there to be pre-approval requirements in certain circumstances. Many businesses implement a tiered system of controls whereby more stringent rules apply in relation to gifts over a certain monetary threshold or to higher risk recipients. Charitable donations, sponsorship, and community investments are another common avenue through which improper payments may be made, particularly in emerging economies. Similarly to gifts, it's an area of close scrutiny for regulators. If these payments are to be made by a business, due diligence is required to ensure that the payment would not be perceived as being made to influence a person who could make decisions in favour of the business. There should also be a clear rationale for the payment and checks of the recipient to ensure that they're spending the money appropriately and are a bona fide recipient, such as a legitimate charity. Approval processes can be set out in a delegation of authority, which is particularly critical for larger businesses and those that operate from multiple offices or locations. This is a policy that determines the level of approval required for particular expenditure amounts and ensures sufficient consideration and oversight of significant payments. Finally, conflicts of interest are another area of particular bribery risk. It's important to identify where risks for conflicts may arise and implement controls to manage potential or actual conflicts before they create exposure. A conflicts of interest register should also be maintained so that employees and other third parties can report and record potential conflicts before any relevant decision, for example, an award of a contract. Employees and third parties should also be subject to an ongoing obligation to disclose conflicts throughout any engagement. A final point to note is that businesses should also consider any further areas of particular exposure arising from the nature of their unique operations or presence, and may require additional controls to mitigate bribery and corruption-related risks. In our next session, we'll consider mechanisms for reporting, investigations, and continuous improvement in the event that an allegation of bribery arises. Thank you.